I'm just a YouTuber builder, that's all.
Oh, nice.
Hey, welcome to How to Build Your Own Home. This is Keith. We're at another phase here at the Pine Valley North job. I just wanted to walk through a couple things with you to help you see the process more during the course of the build. We are doing our forms up here for the basement. Again, this is a walkout basement, but you notice how it steps down over there. I'm going to walk down and show you what we're doing down there, because we're going to pour that today and give you some pointers, things that we're dealing with to solve for other problems in the future. Let's walk down there and take a look. We're down here by the form. This here is really just the stem wall. Right behind me is going to be the higher wall for the walkout basement, all the way around there. We're now very close to grade. It's actually right down where that 2x4 is. Let me see if I can get you. Yeah, right down there where the 2x4 is. That's about where the grade is. Below that is the 36-inch frost step, and it goes all the way down below. If you saw some previous video, we showed how the footings stepped down right here because we have to maintain a constant frost step of 36 inches. But if you notice, I hope you can see it. I don't know if you can, but way down there, there's a pipe. We took a 6-inch pipe, which is that pipe over there. We cut a piece and we put it right in the forms at the bottom. And why did I do that? Because the footings went down even deeper than that. And I didn't want my sewer guy, my plumber, to come in and dig underneath the footing, weaken it. A lot of them do that, and then they take it out that way. Plus, the elevation for the sewer was going to be too low. And if you can't see it, but up here, the septic is going to be down here. And if I drop my drain line below that up there, then I'm going to have a problem. So I had to bring my sewer line up, and we just put it at the top of the footing. And they put it right in there in the form. So that's a sleeve, a 6-inch sleeve, so I can fit my water PEX line in there, my drain line for my sewer. I can fit it all in there. So it's great. And you don't want to have guys cut the form. Typically you say, well, can't you just cut a hole in the form? No, I'm not going to cut a hole in my form. These are expensive forms. But they can put a sleeve inside the form, and then they put tape on both sides of it so concrete doesn't squish in there and all that kind of stuff. But I have an oversized one, and 6-inch diameter pipe in there, so I'll be able to fit everything I need in there. Let's go over here and look at some hold downs and some metalwork. Okay, we're now looking at some metalwork here. I've got some large bolts. You know, these are almost 3/4 inch diameter, and they go all the way down into the footing. So when the footings were poured, we put these in there, and I had to grab a template. And this is a template to make sure they're the same distance away, and when they pour the concrete, they'll make sure that this is the right distance away from the wall. What's going to go here? Well, this is part of the shear support for the home. So we'll have a strong wall. It's called a strong wall. When we get to the framing stage, remember that term, strong wall, and you remember that they had to anchor that strong wall down into the footing, all the way into the footing. And that's what this is for. Again, when you're doing a lot of walkout basements and stuff like that, really complicated elevations, it really puts a number on what's called shear support. Now, most homes can just hold the vertical compression down. That's great, but it's the horizontal support in case there's wind, settling, earthquakes, whatever. That's not supported. And if you've seen on YouTube, there's a lot of homes with that just were not built with any shear, no shear engineering at all, and they just collapse like a deck of cards stacked on top of each other. They just collapse. There's no shear support. So we have 3 of these. So we have 1 here, and then we have 2 up on the higher wall as well. And we'll get those when we do a video up there. One more thing I wanted to show you. Let's go inside here. Here's another thing. This is called a weld plate. This here gets turned upside down, and these pins go right into the concrete, and the 3/4 inch plate there rests level with the concrete. And what's that for? Again, it's more shear. Okay, basically. So when that plate gets turned upside down, it gets pushed into the concrete, it gives an opportunity to weld a beam, which in this case is going to be a post to get welded right to it, all the way up to the next floor. Again, that's that kind of shear support, not your vertical compression strength, but your shear support. We have 5 of these along this wall. So they've got to be positioned just right. And we oversized them just a little bit. So it gives me plenty of room to adjust it in case I have to move that beam an inch or two either way. And the engineer said, that's fine, Keith. I already oversized them myself. So they're oversized. So we got plenty of place for them. And I've got several of these up on the high wall here for some I-beam metalwork that's going to come all the way across. So I have, let's see, 5 up there and 5 down here. So again, these are, a lot of times these can go unnoticed. And you know, your concrete guy, well, that's not me, that's the metalwork guy. And so you have to be on top of that. So I was able to get them manufactured locally here by Theobald Construction. My daughter's in-laws, so they're great, Theobald Construction. I want to thank them for getting all these fabricated. And we have 6 more coming up just in time to pour this here. So we need 2 bigger ones, and so we're waiting for those to come up, and they'll come up. Anyway, we're going to pour the stem wall today, get that cured, and then get the larger wall inspected and get that poured hopefully the next day. And then pull the forms, let it cure. I'm going to put a French drain behind with some gravel. And I'm going to go through some videos on that. We're going to tar the back of that. When that's all prepped properly, we'll get the excavator here and we'll get going. I want to show you the back of this real quick and show you the deadmans, because I brought that up into some previous videos. I want to show you those deadmans so you can kind of visualize what they are. This here is a deadman. Again, more shear support. You just can't build things vertically on top of each other without some horizontal support. And a deadman is basically that horizontal support. Going into the hillside here, and you can see this one's partially framed up right here. They'll continue with the framing up all the way here. And right over here, if you remember that previous video, the footing I showed you, there's a footing right here. There's a footing over there. And that was part of the deadmans. So these go into the hillside and help support the horizontal movement of the wall that way. I had a client a long time ago, an owner builder, it's been 20 years ago, and he wasn't really well informed. And they poured the wall, and it didn't have any deadmans on it, so it needed to cure. Concrete really needs to cure at least 30 days. Now, some concrete guys will let you backfill slowly before that, but it's really their call. You really shouldn't backfill until 7 days go by. With these deadmans, it's really going to help out quite a bit. Anyway, he was an owner builder and wasn't really informed. Didn't take my class because I didn't have it back then. And he started to backfill, and he threw big rocks in there, just huge rocks. Well, the guys were inside doing the slab, pouring the slab, and a big, huge rocker hit, and both corners of the wall snapped. And so everyone had to stop. They had to re-engineer it. It was very expensive for him, but he was eager. He was impatient. This is why quality, time, and cost. Time is that thing that can, if you're too impatient, it can throw your costs out of whack, and then your quality is substandard. So that's why time is right there. Certain things need a certain amount of time to be cured or compacted or tested in order to move forward. That's why time is right dead center in the middle of quality and cost. It's that thing that's the deciding factor of whether or not you can afford the lower cost, or whether or not, yeah, let's go with the higher quality. So time is that pendulum that either moves you one way or the other. So on another video, we're going to talk about the drainage and back here, and we'll do some protection, we'll do some tar. I want to get out of the way. The cement truck's coming up, and we're going to go ahead and pour these stem walls. Until next time, see you guys later.